What's up, guys? My name's Clinics. I build a ton of stuff in Minecraft and play too much Minecraft, some could say. But that's besides the point. We're going to be building stuff, and I'm going to be teaching you guys my thought processes behind like building and kind of just showing you the ways that I build and stuff like that. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Drop a like on the video, and yeah, let's get to it. So, for starters, let me get back on the... Actually, I have free cam. Um, what I'm thinking is with the retaining walls, right? So we have these retaining walls that kind of bring us up and through and wind us through up to the top, which is how your general flow of terrain should be, because you can't just go straight up a hill sometimes like this. Because you can't just go straight up a hill. This is a little harder to do, but it's got curves in it, so it works. So it has some nice curves, and it kind of follows the general kind of layout of the mountain. The only part that gets rough is right here, which we're going to have to fix this later. So just keep that in mind for when we are doing the retaining walls. So for this retaining wall, we have this path right here that connects with our main area right here. So I want to take that path and kind of bring it up this kind of slope right here. So if I can maybe hollow and kind of bring that slope in and then bring the path up that slope into this corner. So let me get my cursor here. So it goes right here and kind of winds up to right here. About this level is what the Y level we're looking for our general retaining wall, because it lines up perfectly with this side. So if we can wind this retaining wall all the way around the back, we can also gain a ton of room down here, which is going to be perfect for what we want to do. Because we have a rock garden right here that we're working on and trying to expand, because we have our main rock garden right here, which looks wonderful. So we're trying to get more space for that rock garden so we can do more things here. And I think up here we're going to put a wheat farm. Actually, I don't know. We might put a second layer, because we won't need all of this whole area for this. I would like to add more of this right here and cut this from the corner, so we have a little bit more room between the castle and the actual terrain. But that's besides the point. With that, we should work on kind of, honestly, the first thing we're going to do is kind of cut this right here. We're going to cut all this, like, and I mean cut it, like, we're going to just kind of go like this with it. So we're going to fly in and cut this way and just kind of level it. And then once we get to about where we want our wall to be, we're going to go straight down. So then we have a flat wall, a 90-degree surface instead of a slope. We're going to just have a boom boom. So I say let's get started on that. And then eventually we'll have to move these cows and these chickens. I say let's hop right into it. Oops, I've been dropping things. And with this slope, I can kind of do it myself. So I'm not gonna let's grab some dirt real quick from where we're gonna be chopping. And I'm kind of just gonna like frame it out a little bit, just so I have the general area of what I'm thinking. And then from here, we just start cutting. We want as much room on this ground level that we can get. The more the merrier, but we also don't need all the room. So if we want to make compromise for a second one, like we did up here, we honestly did 3, because we had a wind, a wind, and a wind. But if we want to make separate crop fields and then have a separate area, we can do that perfectly. We might also start doing some custom terrain for over here on this wall. It's going to be a little difficult. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, because this path is going to be coming up here, we have this area up here that's pretty flat for a snowy area. And I want to integrate that somehow into our kind of area up here, because if you look around, all these mountains, they're just cliff face, cliff face, cliff face. The only one that doesn't have too much of a cliff face is right here, but it's only like bowled out and up here above the cave, so it's not really that useful, and it doesn't really have a great connection. But we can maybe do something up here in the future. But this area up here is all so leveled and flat that I think it would be nice to kind of do maybe some snowy Japanese architecture up there. So I will have to do some research on what that could look like, but that's probably in store for the future. Let's just kind of go up here. Let's get up top first, and then we can kind of cut off what we want. And we just start cutting away. Now right here, I'm going to kind of bring it in a little bit more because we don't want the harshest curve on the inside. We want kind of smooth curves or a like steady curve is with the lines right here because they're two and then sometimes one. You either want a solid 2 because you get this area because we put the walls here to add more definition and curve to the wall so it feels like it's more girthy as well, so it's more reinforced, because retaining walls always aren't the just flat down, they kind of have a small curve to them. So if we kind of add that a little bit here and there, we can see it, and you can also, it just makes it less blocky, so it adds another little curvature to it, gives it more shape and form. But with the straightness of this, we want it to be pretty straight so we can actually kind of wall it out properly. We're going to leave that one there, and that should be good. I want to bring... We can also cut this part right here of this snow. We're not restricted by anything. And eventually, with this dirt, I'm going to remove the dirt and replace it with snow, so that will be easier. So let's just chop this right here, honestly, as well. If you guys are doing terraforming and you don't know where to start, my recommendation is just start spam placing blocks. If you're smoothing out a slope, if you're steepening a slope, just go like this, kind of maybe go a few up, and then kind of just start imagining your slope like going up like this. So then you can actually start like adding on the sides, and dirt's so plentiful in the world that it's not going to be too hard to get. So if you're ever stuck with terraforming, just start spam placing blocks is my motto. And then the other thing with terraforming is if you want it to look like the vanilla, like vanilla Minecraft, or if you want it to be custom. That's kind of a thing that you kind of have to decide on, not early on, but pretty generically, if you're deciding to have a continuation of like the normal terrain. So this is what I mean. This slope kind of feels, it feels like a lot because we have so much space right here, but we have no space right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to equalize this right about, I would say here. I'm going to bring 2, and I'm just going to start doing sets of 2, maybe 3, maybe another 1, 2, maybe 3. Just kind of going with the flow, whatever feels right. And then when we get over here, I'm going to, since we have that kind of, you don't want to go straight into from one from 1 to 1 to 1 to, you kind of want to mix a 1 and a 2 and then a 1, 2 and then go into like maybe a 3, so it kind of equalizes it a little better. And then we can mix into a 1 right there, and now we have a not super steep curve, but we have, actually let's bring that one back by 1. There we go, so then it has a more of a uniform curve. We can actually bring that back by 1. There we go, look at that. And we have so much more room over here. Real quick, I have to deal with some chickens real quick, so I'll be with you momentarily. Anyways, I have no idea what happened to the chicken. Anyways, but I don't know what happened to the chickens, so, yeah. So now that we have our curve, we can see how tall this wall is going to be, and we're going to need a second wall. So what we could do, and to be honest, I might do, is with this second part, with this part right here, this second part, I gotta kill you, you're annoying me. Anyways, with this second part, we have this top one, which would be really long if we just had, or really tall if we just had it, boom, like right there. It would be super tall. So that's why bringing the second one in, and it matches naturally with our loop-de-loops, which is fine, but in general, you would want a second retaining wall here, because like I said, retaining walls, they're not just a straight flat, they kind of go level out like that. So if you have multiple layers to it, it kind of helps bear the load and look natural. Try not to have one block gaps. If you have them here and there, they're fine. You can kind of get away with them, but you kind of just have to fill it out when you're doing, or like feel it out when you're doing a retaining wall. Let's take this and just make it look better. Let's pull this a little bit over here, and we can pull this a little more. This is, keep in mind, this top layer of grass is kind of our, like, top layer, which is what we're going to be standing on. So if you're happy with the width on the top layer, then you're going to have a wall be right here. So you're going to have to kind of imagine that for the bottom and the top. Okay. And then the easy part, you just, after you get your shape, you just start digging away. And if you're happy with your shape, you're happy with your shape. If not, then you just mess with it a little more here and there. Just back away and keep looking at it until you like it. If you are in choice paralysis, just take a step back and don't look at it. Just take a step back and go work on a farm or go mining for a little bit. Go do something else that's productive still, but has you thinking about the build, and then you are able to kind of have a refreshed mind when you get back to it, because you're still being productive, but you're doing something else. So eventually your brain will kind of just overflow and just not be able to think at things, so you kind of have to take things step by step. Even just taking a break in general, you don't even have to be productive. You can just be working on, you could just be standing still, you could AFK, be watching a YouTube video like you are right now, but you can do whatever you would like. Just take that at least 5 minutes, I'd say. 5 minutes is about 5 minutes is about the time I take sometimes when I just need a break, because your brain can't be working 24/7. It needs some time to process some things. There's a reason why we have it. Why we get some brain fog here and there. It's just overstress and overwork. But you can kind of see the shape coming together now that we have it straight down. And then we're gonna get this kind of hollowed out. Which, if you also are liking the kind of shape of it, but you don't, let me cut this out so I can kind of show you a little better over here, because with this part being so close with the castle, we're not going to want that. We're not going to be wanting to have a second layer over here, because it's just so close to the castle. We're not going to be able to fit it. It's just not going to flow too naturally, right? So with that, we can kind of do what I did with the part over here. This part, where you kind of just do a little section and kind of cut it in. So what we're probably going to end up doing is we're going to take this section, right? Take it from here, because we'll have our path going up, which will look very good. We'll have our path going up to the top, but we can also put a door right here and have this be a separate one. So we can take this line right here. We can take this line from here and bring it in and cut it in over to here, which we're not going to get too much room out of the area that we've hollowed, but it's not what we came here for. We came here to put the retaining wall. We wanted room. Room is what we wanted to gain, which we're gaining a little bit of room, and sometimes a little bit of room is just enough room. So we don't need all the room in the world. We just need it to have less pressure on our backdrop. We just need less pressure on our backdrop, because when we're building and we want to build, we want the build to naturally fit in the area, and if we can't do that, we have to make the area fit the build, which then that gets a little harder. But that's the whole point of terraforming. That's why you clicked on the video. Alright, so now that I got that kind of all set up with the top wall, I kind of want to... I'm looking at this, and I want to, like I said, cut this. But I'm looking at this curve, and I'm liking the general kind of feel of the curve. I might bring it in a little bit more right here so it follows this top line, because you want your overall lines to follow your top lines. But if you need to, you can obviously kind of expand a little bit if you'd like, and it will cut out some good area. But for this one, I want to kind of have it follow a little bit and then kind of simmer out towards this point right here. So let's do that. I'm going to take this shovel and just start kind of walking towards the point that I want to do it from. And then from there, we got that level. We're going to kind of take a look. Obviously, I have free cam. If you don't have free cam or you don't want to use free cam, you can use your elytra, rock it up on the roof up here, or dirt pillar, and do whatever you'd like. You set up a little dirt pillar with a ladder on it, some scaffolding, kind of lay out your vibe. That's what I did as a kid and did back in the day when I didn't have any mods. When I was too young to understand how to use mods. Which I can also do that too as well. I can show you guys how to set up my mods, because I have some mods on this server, this realm, that I use. I use Distant Horizons, and I love Distant Horizons. So if you guys need help setting stuff up, let me know. I can make a tutorial video about that. So with this curve, I'm liking it. I want to cut this part a little more right here, but I'm liking this point. This point's very nice. This point's very nice. And this... I might bring this one more block in like that, and then we're going to cut this curve like this. Hopefully. Is that better? There we go. That's much better. So the other thing that's nice is we have a jut here and a jut here that this just happened naturally. Having two juts here kind of expands the area instead of having it be more of a narrow coffin, because if we had the two lines going this way and then the 1x1s, it would feel so narrow right here. But we want the expansion to be kind of natural with the kind of flow of this platform. This platform you kind of take inspiration from the top line, like you want to follow it as much as you can, but you don't need to do it perfectly, is my point. You just want it to look natural. So now that we have that, we're going to take our line, like we did it last time, and just start cutting. So with this kind of part right here, we're going to have this long, tall part right here, which can be a plus or a minus. So I'm thinking we could end up making a nice little waterfall right here, or maybe have a second kind of retaining wall section right here. We'd have to figure out how to connect it here, which would be hard, but we'll look at that in a moment. Let's just do what we have right now instead of getting ahead, because we gotta kind of stay focused on what we want done. But ideas, looking at things for ideas, and looking at your stuff to figure out what you're wanting to do, and kind of thinking about it at the same time as you're building, helps. I don't like to leave any hollow places when I'm terraforming. I like to kind of fill them in, or at least spawn-proof them. So by spawn-proof, I mean I do a checkered pattern, and then I'll place a block here and like there. So then if anything spawns, it can't. It would be only maybe a passive mob, if anything, but the less mobs you have in your area, the less creepers and endermen you have. And creepers, they blow up, but you can deal with them. Endermen just start taking blocks, and they place them wherever they want, so they're always an issue. So actually what I've kind of messed up here is you don't need to do this set of blocks right here. when you break the floor. Because whatever your floor is, or whatever you want your floor to be, you can do that. So, like right down here, we're probably going to end up doing soul sand, so I'm going to just preemptively clear this. So if I have to replace it with soul sand in the future, that is fine, but not my main issue. But this right here, these blocks you don't have to clear. You can just leave them, and you're going to put blocks over the top of them, and then the floor would be filled in. So it's just less work that you have to do. Okay, now that we're at this part, I don't know what I want here. I know it won't work if we just have a straight wall. So I think from here, maybe. Let's take from here. Yes, this will probably work. We're going to kind of outer curve this one. And let's do even longer strides since we're getting close to the house. And then we're going to bring it back in and connect back to the main wall. So like this is what I mean. I'm just naturally connecting with this kind of thing and just chopping this right here. And we're naturally connected. So now when we get to this shrine right here, this Torii gate, we can just kind of swing that wall in and kind of bring it back down right to here and make it connect with the Torii gate. Now, since we have this area kind of ready for our frame, we should be good. Huh. Do I want to cut this back? Cut this like that. And having grass lead into a wall never really looks too bad, so you're kind of fine. It also saves you less, like, heartache. So if you're having this problem right here that I'm kind of having, I'm going to bring this wall into here. The wall's going to connect right to here. We can cut this then, because the wall's going to come in, connect right to here on this block. And then from here, I kind of want it to go right here onto these blocks and then down. So I'm gonna do that. I think that could look good. It looked better for sure, because with how this terrain is, it's a little rough. It's a little rough on this edge of the house, so I want to kind of equalize that to the best of my ability, at least. And so now with us having it connect right to here, we will just bring the wall in right here on these blocks. So that means that these can just kind of get cut down, and then yeah, we should get a ton of room out of this. I'm going to leave these blocks here for my memory, so then I know to bring the wall down. So we didn't get as much space on this wall as we wanted, but that's okay. We can kind of take a little more, because we don't need all the space in the world over here. So if we want some block areas, it should be fine. I think we should have enough space there, so it looks semi-natural. This part, I don't know what I'm doing with this part anymore. Kind of want to bring it back in. I haven't decided yet. This might look better with the curve of the mountain. So, as this all goes, this is where it gets difficult, people. This is where you're like, you just have to sit back and kind of step back and look at it. So this may as well just be straight out of ease. And then this can be cut back in. So if we're going to cut this back in. Ooh, even better idea. Look at this. Let's just do this. And then we cut it back in like that. So then we just have more of an easement. And then we can come back through right here. Cut that. Cut that. That should be good. And then it kind of brings the whole kind of vibe together with it kind of flowing together. So it kind of brings it in, cuts this way. Then we will only have one big kind of part right here. The big parts, they're good to have in some places. They just have to look right, and you have to put something below them, or they will just look like a wall, if that makes sense. I'll go show you by my yellow tree, actually, is over here. We have a pretty big wall right here. So I put a water feature in and kind of put a tree here. So it kind of feels less big. And we also have this big rock here, so it just feels giant. But with this tree, it makes the wall kind of realize, oh, the wall's big, but it has a kind of purpose. And with these stone walls right here, they help kind of reinforce the wall, so it kind of feels like it has that extra depth to it. But it really doesn't. It's just optical illusions is all. That's one thing I've been trying to get better at, is working with like corners and like smoothing corners from not just like a block perspective, like putting a glass pane or a fence gate or something, just to kind of bring the corner back in. I think I actually did it on the Tory gate, if I remember correctly. I kind of did. With these buttons on the edges, it kind of has like, from the right angles, it has the kind of just like a little bit of a jut out, a little connection between the two. That was my thinking and my thought process with it. But on the diagonals, it's always hard to get properly. I did a straight Tory gate on a creative test, kind of like just messing around, trying to get the general vibe of a Tory gate. Which also, doing things in creative, do that. Like, get your color palettes in creative so you know what you're building with beforehand, and you're not just going with the flow. Because going with the flow is great, but it has to... You have to have your vision 100% in your brain before you start flowing. Because if you just start flowing, you're not going to get it. Like, it's just not going to... It's just going to take you a lot more work to get to what your end product is, and doing a little bit of creative to get your color palettes together, to get kind of the general shape together, will help 100%. I did build that diagonal one because in creative, and then basically copied it over. I just took a picture of it on my phone and kind of copied it over because it's a one-sided build, so it was not that hard. But with diagonal builds, I don't really do them too much. If you want to do diagonal builds, their uniformity is always like a hard thing to do. Like, I think I did that one's a diagonal Tory gate, but it's one block off, which is fine. It looks normal. You just have to kind of, like I said, you kind of have to have that uniformity, and getting those. Ooh, okay. So now another thing I'm going to show you is this right here. That corner should just be like that, because when you bring the blocks in, it's just going to be a corner like that, and you don't want that. You don't want a corner that has these blocks right here, that these blocks are connecting. You want the blocks to be connecting like that, because if you have that corner like that, you may as well just do that, because it's the same wall preface. So with this being a rock garden, I'm going to bring all this soul sand back through into this wall right here, and kind of do that for this area. I might do it for the bottom half down here, this whole set, because we have it over there as well. But then on this side, we don't have anything, so I might do it, might not. I haven't decided yet. But now, since we have the shape of our kind of walls, our retaining walls, you can already kind of see how it makes it just feel like better. It doesn't slope in, but it still has that level of, okay, I can kind of go up some levels and go down some levels here and there. So it's not a smooth slope. It is a harsh slope, but it brings it to be more of a kind of structural slope. Okay, so now the next step is you want to get your block palette, which for me, I'm doing deep slate, and I'm doing a deep slate cobble with a silked touched deep slate, so just normal deep slate, and then I'm doing cobble deep slate walls with the kind of base texture for your walls. You kind of want it to be what's the word? You want your main gradient, like your main kind of texturing, to be your main, to be the main ingredient with the walls. So what I mean is, if you like, you can't make deep slate walls and have a different texture for walls. You need cobbled deep slate walls. So try to have that be a thing, because if you don't, then things get hard with the walls. Oh, I forgot slabs as well. You're going to need slabs and stairs for the tops. So let me get those real quick. Okay, now that I have these slabs and stairs, we're going to start kind of just placing some cobbled deep slate around. For these tops, I just, like, want a masked texture. So I'm going to fill all this right here. And then for the tops, you kind of want to have enough of these cobbled deep slate up top that, oh my gosh, I need to get up there. Give me a second. You want enough of these cobbled deep slate up top to be here for some easy connections to some stuff, but you also need that texture to be up top as well. So kind of budge in and just bring a deep slate in here, bring a deep slate in here, place one here, place one facing this way, another one this way. Probably good there. I'll do one here, do another one here. I'll do a double one, do a one, and then another one by itself, and boom. I always like to bring them down after I do it, but I like to put the normal cobbled deep slate in first, because then I can put the deep slate with angles. And then actually on these tops we can just do this and fill that out nice. And if you work layer by layer, you can kind of get your, if you're doing a gradient, work layer by layer. But if you're just doing a, like, texturing, then do whatever you like. So it just adds different kind of textures and separates the same kind of pattern that blocks have, and kind of makes it like a random stone, because that's so uniform and that's like scatterbrain. So it makes it look better. So if you want like a pattern or like a mosaic kind of thing, then do like whatever you'd like. But I like doing a little mix of stone here and through, because it just separates it all out so perfectly. Nice. And like this column needs something, so I'll put an upside down one there. Put one facing out, one facing out. Then we'll do some blocks here. Place an upside down one there, one going sideways, boom. Going up, and nice. So there is those done. For these bottoms, I usually just do slabs or whatever block I have on the bottom, but since, like, up here I have farmland, I just did a cobblestone slab. Which this one, I think I'm going to make wheat, so we have some wheat for mud in the future. Okay, and now that we have our wall here, we're going to work on our wall up here. And most of your, like I said, most of your wall is going to be whatever your text, your main block is. So you want your texturing to be the special block. So I'm just kind of just going at random, placing things. If you misplace a block, don't worry, it's fine. You can always just break it until it looks good. See, like this, mess that up. That gets more form in here. This can go, that can go. And then now we just take our deep slate and just start going at it. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one actually and make this just dirt. And then we have our better form right here. with this wall, the staircase thingy going up, we kind of are going to need more room for it, so I'm just having it kind of hollow right now, or have as much room as it needs, because I was noticing while I was walking up, it definitely needed more room to be going up. But let's finish what we started here. Let's actually go up top and place the ones that are facing upwards. And the nice part with these ones facing upwards, you won't see the top if you don't want to see the top, so it doesn't feel like ununiform. I try not to take too much textures that are the exact same with this. Like this one right here, I like it because it's not everywhere. Oops, just fell down. I like it because it's not everywhere, so I try to just, like, if I have one, I try to kind of just spread it out a little more, because we already have combined textures with these deep slate, so we kind of want to separate our combined textures. Having a few in throughout makes it, the pattern, the kind of, and the texturing look kind of better, because it's just another kind of mini pattern that's added to it. So now that we have that, we have that all cleared out, and the top's done. Or no, that's what we need to do, is get the tops done. I usually put lanterns on them just because you need light in your area. Actually, before we do the top, I want to make this flow better with this right here, so then we have a nice slope going down for our path. So let's do that. Now that I have a little bit more dirt, we can kind of clear this out for now. And then start kind of just leveling our way up and out. And if we need to bring the wall kind of in just to like separate the path, we can do that. Pretty simple. Pretty easy like. Bring this in, I'll do that. I did that. I need to bring this down. So, these stairs there. So, let's just grab some stairs. I'm gonna go grab my path blocks as well. Okay. So now that I have my path blocks and it is daytime, I have to deal with some mobs here and there. You guys know the program. Speaking of a witch, I don't want to get poison on me. I don't want her to land on the crops either, so I'll just do that. Okay, so I kind of want to work my way from the top down. This needs to go down one more block. We want it to go down one more block because we don't want to be higher than the walls ever. We always want the walls to be higher than us. The walls are there for us to kind of lay our land. This, we're going to bring this in by one. That will go like this. Which we may as well just cut this in like this. And then have the free form be this, like that. And boom, boom, boom. We have it cut like this. Nice. And bring it down a block to get around this wall. So then we just have this wall connect to the path like that. And then boom. We have a staircase here. That goes like this. It only needs to be a 2-wide staircase, so we're going to just do a 2-wide staircase. And then we should be connected quite shortly. Do I want to bring it back one block? I do not. The only thing that like kind of is unfortunate with this would be that block, but then we just take a deep slate. Let's just take a deep slate and put it there. And then it feels more uniform and like connected. So that helps us bring that together. Let's take our hoe and kind of break these moss blocks up and connect back the path. When you're making paths, try to keep them like within whatever block radius you have them. But when you get to curves, you just do one block, right? So you have your 2, and then you just add a block at the end. And then you do one more to the right or to the left. And you just have a set of 2 and a set of 2. So then it makes it all flow together. So you have more room. You kind of want to have the mind of just having a thick enough space for your character to walk diagonally in. Which, when you're walking diagonally, I'd say your blocks get multiplied by, like, the thickness of the path gets multiplied by about, like, 1.5. So you add, like, half a block on to it if you can. Which, we don't work in half blocks because we don't have half blocks. I mean, we do. We have slabs and stairs, but we're working vertically now. So there is no point in worrying about it. Alright, now that we have that, so we take this, right, and we bring it up to right about here. I have a 1 block here that I can go through. We'll put some trapdoors on the outside on both of these so we can just walk through and mobs can't get through. And then, because of my design, I'll put a little tiny torii gate on top of it. So I'm doing, not Spanish, Japanese. But for anything like that you're going to have crops in that you don't want falling out or you don't want to fall out of, you place another block on top. And I like to try to place the cobbled deep slate on top. Sometimes I'll mix in a normal deep slate just to make the transition a little easier. But we're kind of we're texturing this top block as well. Oop, we forgot some blocks over here. That's fine. Let's do this. Do a double. Boom, 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 boom. And then from here, you should be set to start placing some slabs down. So with this right here, this wall, what I'm actually going to end up doing right here is I'm going to cut this and put a wall kind of going like this together with it. So now this is where it kind of becomes up to you if you want your wall to go up to this point right here and kind of bring it in and have it kind of be a hallway. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just kind of bring it to the same level as the rest of the walls, so we kind of can flow easier. And then I usually like to put some slabs on these, or stairs is what I usually do. I usually just do stairs because then that makes it kind of flow more and better. And then I'll put one at the top, do a slab, and then do a sideways slab so we have that flow. Honestly, we'll do a sideways slab at the top as well. No, we're going to bring a double slab. There we go. And then on these corners, I always just do a wall facing whatever direction I'm going towards via blockwise. And I try not to, you want to have a block in between at the very least. But then you just fill these in with your slabs. And then now we're going to throw one right here, a wall, just to mix up that top part so it doesn't feel so uniform. I'm going to leave these hollow for now because I think the torii gate's going to go here, but I will not have room for it, so I'm just going to do a kind of simple one real quick since we're here. And honestly, we're going to take this rock down and have that so it feels flowy. So we have our torii gate right there, and now we have our walled area. But since we're here, we may as well do our walls right here. If you want, you can put a wall like in 1x1s if you like. I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. I'm going to because that's on a corner for our path, so then we have light on it. But ideally, you want a section to be like this, where you have one block. And then on sections that you have walls like this, I'll usually take them down every other block, or every other 2 blocks. Just depends on how many sections you have that are like that. And then you kind of want to, once you get up top, you'll see better of like what you're looking for lantern wise. So with this, it's actually better just to bring this wall into here. So we're going to do that. And we're going to cut that, and we're going to put you right here. Actually, no. We're going to do this just to vary it a little bit. So then we're going to cut this back, and we're going to have a little bit more wall. Ta-da! And that's that done. For that corner, I didn't want to put much because it gets weird on corners. Now, we have our top parts. We're going to bring them up a block anyways for these ramparts, or for these walls up here, because I like that. Because we're going to put lanterns on top of them. So I think for right here, we're actually going to take these two walls and lower them by one. Because we'll have a lantern, a lantern, and a lantern. So having space between your lanterns is always nice. So that's that for that area. For here, this wall, you're going to bring all the way up to there. Leave it there. You're going to put a lantern on top of that. And then, like I said, with these walls, just bring them down. And I like to keep, when I have them with sets of, like, where the blocks go, like, one by one, I just have the walls go all the way up, but only on even parts. Or whatever pattern you've decided to do for those parts. So, like this, it works out for, 3s. You always try to build, well, at least I do. I always try to build in sets of 3s or 5s that have odd numbers, or basically, that have a center even point, because you can have a centerpiece, which is always good. Then you just put your floor and the lanterns. But let's do the top now. And with these stairs, I'm just kind of placing them however I feel is right. And then we just fill in with slabs. And like with this top area, it's going to be a walking area. So it doesn't, I kind of want you to be able to look down. So I don't want the highness of the other ones right there. Let's fix this. I don't have any tough on me. I'll have to come back and fill that up with tough. But that's not an issue. So now that top part is done, let's go grab our lanterns and then put them up top. I'll also grab some spruce trapdoors for that area and we'll be good. Okay, so now that you have whatever color lighting or whatever lighting that you want to do, for me, I'm doing lanterns and I just place them on top of the walls. Lanterns flow nicely for my build and my color because they have a iron outside and the iron kind of is a dark gray, maybe navy blue looking. Which Deep Slate naturally has that in its dark spots right here for the highlight of the dark spots. But we're placing the lanterns only on the highest bits. On the bits that we left lower, we're leaving those. We're leaving those empty because we don't need them full. And like on an instance where we have 3 lanterns right here, we're just going to bring that lower by 1. Let me get back up top real quick. And boom. So now we just place a lantern right there. So you can also do the copper lanterns if you want different color flames. If you want different color lighting, you have end rods as well. You have green with the copper lanterns. You also have torches. I don't recommend torches. Torches will look weird because they're so tall. But I feel like the end rods might look good because they're so tall and they have those particle effects on them. And they're a consistent color throughout the whole way. The torch is a half color, and the white is kind of a different color. So if you're doing like a white wall or maybe like a gothic or angelic kind of vibe or elven, you can do the end rods. I feel like that'd be perfect. And if you don't know how to craft end rods, you just get some chorus fruit and then pop them by smelting them in a furnace. And then you get blaze rods and put the chorus fruit on top. Or, no, chorus fruit on bottom and then a blaze rod. Kind of like how the blaze rod is coal and the popped chorus fruit is a stick. That's how you make blaze rods. Or, not blaze rods. End rods. End rods, oh, modern as well. Modern is one of the best. End rods are one of the best lightings for modern. Along with sea lanterns. And yeah. But that is basically how you make that. I'm going to fill this up with some wheat now. And then fill up this with some soul sand. And then I'm going to finish this all. Okay, so I'm working on the soul sand bit right now. I've decided to run the soul sand all the way around. If you're working with soul sand, I recommend working with soul soil as well if you want to add a texture. But for me, I'm using the soul sand as kind of the, like, raked out parts of the sand for these rock gardens. Because when you're in a rock garden, they have sand right here. And they like and they rake it so it looks like it has waves. And I'm trying to imitate those waves with this. So now I'm just trying to imitate the curve that I have on these rock parts right here, on these, and exemplify them as much as I can. We have a set of 3 and then a 2, so it gets kind of confusing. Like this. I think this needs to honestly be pulled back one more. And then through like that. There we go. And then we can pull this one forward. If it just generally looks like it, you're probably doing good. I have it so it's like generally 2 blocks between the two. Let's see what I do. Yeah, I'm just doing like 2 blocks between the two. So on these edges I'm doing just 1 block ideally on these points right here. So it just has a natural kind of flow. But if it doesn't have full natural flow, that's okay. You don't need it. There we go. And then we just edge it out. Like so. I don't even need these blocks if I don't want to, but I'm keeping them there because I've done it for all of that. And I don't want to redo that right now. So if we do that, then we keep it uniform throughout the whole build. Because once we mess up once, we don't want to mess up again. So now we just bring our soul soil in. Go for a 1 block gap. And place our 1 block gap. And we're good. Alright, so I've cleared out this, I've got this area set up now. So I've placed it all so it has the rippling effect, like I taught you. Actually, I forgot this right here. Let's do this real quick. And this is just going to be soul soil. Cool. And yeah, so that's that for this area. If you're using one for the... if you're using one for like running on, use soul soil. But because soul sand brings you down a hitbox just a little bit, so that's also one thing that you can do with a nether wart farm, I believe. You can put a hopper below it because the hitbox of the hopper just has to detect the block above. So it is not a full block, it is technically a 1 pixel down block. Just some redstone things. I'm edging, about right. I'm edging this area with a soul sand kind of cut. I need to take it to here, actually, on this side, because I forgot. Do I? I do not. I'm tripping. So I'm just kind of using the soul sand as the kind of edge border and the border for the soil. So it kind of just will fill in like this. Any sort of texture to make uniformity not a uniformity. Patterns are good. Make patterns if you like, which is what we have for the flooring. But uniformity all the way is not what you want. You want a little bit of mix-up throughout it. With the pattern, it adds a little bit of mix-up. Either do texturing, gradients, or patterns. So now that we have this, we're going to take our soul sand over here because this is our path. And the soil and soul sand will go along the edge of the house and the edge of the path. And or not the edge of the path, and the edge of the pillars. The path I don't really worry about too much because if we edge the path then we won't have any soil in there, so it's like we may as well just make the soil. So think about it like from a technical, from like a realistic standpoint. If, like I said, with the raking of things, they have to rake the edges. So they have to rake the edges first, so then they build off the edges first. So if you do the same, you build off the edges first, then fill in the middles with however you want, with rocks or whatever, or with different soil patterns and textures, then you'll be good. I've just kind of placed this rock right here. I haven't done anything with it because I didn't like when I placed soil around it, or soul sand. But that's our soul sand, soil, rock garden, bottom, completed. This is how it looks from a top-down standpoint. I haven't done the wheat yet, but we're going to do that right now. Okay, so when you are doing farms, I like to usually just put a water source right in the middle so I can have general access to infinite water, especially because now I'm going to be doing water sources. So I put the water sources for my farms on every one of these right here, which always has water in it. I just waterlog a slab and then just go 4 blocks from that slab. So that's usually what I do. Excuse me. Sometimes you'll run into a instance. Oops. You'll run into a instance where you're going to have to use water on the wall. So the way you will use water on the wall is you will place a stair on these corners right here, either one of these corners or these corners. And just for an example, I will take this stair. And you will place the stair like this, and then you have a waterlog stair. And you want to do it with the wall on the other side so the water it won't flow, but you don't want it to be transparent, I think. Because I think light sometimes goes through it. I don't know. It's some old knowledge from old Minecraft, so I don't know if it still does that. But you just waterlog a stair, and then you can build off that block. So we might have to do that. I don't think we will. We might, though. You never know. But it works really nice when you're doing these rock walls, or these wheat farms. The retaining walls are nice. If you build them too wide, you'll have to do the wall parts. Or you'll have to implement a kind of... If you have to, like, I mean have to, you can place one right in the middle like that, place 2 walls on top of it and put a lantern on top of it, and then from there you have a pretty kind of, like, at least you have a light in the middle, because if you have light on the sides and up here, you're gonna want to have light over here if it's that wide. But you should be good if you kind of just stick with this area. And then also, if you really need light at the bottom, you can add lanterns down here on those parts. I don't. It's my kind of thing. But some people do. Some people don't. Whatever you like, you like. Do what your heart contents. It is a sandbox game after all. I'm just showing you what I know. I think we did those 2. Yep, we did. That one. That one. That one. But yeah, you just go through and waterlog the slabs, and then you farm your land. until your land is farmed. I sometimes like to put like a marker where I left off, so I'm not constantly just accidentally filling the one. So I'll just put a marker, go to the next one. Oops, that's fine. We need it to turn to soil anyways. Start here next. But yeah, and then you just do that the whole way through. If you want more buckets, you can. I didn't want to fill my inventory with a ton of buckets, so I just kind of kept it raw. And then we need a bucket. We need one more bucket. And that should be... Was it this one? Nice. If you want to check them all, you can. Epic. And now we just fill our hole back up. And then from each one of the farmland, or from each one of these water source blocks, you go 1, 2, 3. Here, I'll just do it from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can go diagonally, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how much the water covers the area. So, I do it from just each of them. From each water point going in the direction that they go. So I can fill them out properly. See, we might need one right here. Depending on this one. Nope, we're good. Because 1, 2, 3, 4. Which will goes to that block. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're good throughout all this. And it goes to there. Nice. And then, so now that you know it covers the whole area, just start tilling. That's what I do. For my whole area. And if you ever notice that one of your farmland just didn't get didn't get saturated with soil or with water, then you can just do the wall thing from the other side and be good from there. And then now we just fill with seeds. I sometimes just do the walls first, like the sides that have walls, because they are sometimes annoying to place and fill in. If you just place on the walls, you should be good. You can just place on the one block and it will fill the ones on the walls. And then from there, I just go back and forth. If you spam click, it fills it quicker than like holding. So spam click, and then also same with tilling. If you spam click, it's quicker than holding. And done. And now we have a wheat farm. I forgot to grab some spruce trapdoors, but I'll do that right now. So with the spruce trapdoors, I use them as kind of half doors, because number one, they keep mobs out. You can go in and you place them on the floor. They look good depending on the trapdoor you use, but I just go like this and boom, now you have your doors. And then you have at least the easy. It also keeps the sightline that you have, so it keeps your sightline that you're running all the way through the build. So you still have that main sightline. I have another one right here because we do some stuff in the nether quite a bit for the blocks that we use here. This is a realm, by the way, if you were curious. And then we have a carrot farm for golden carrots. And we have other farms. But yeah, so me and my buddy play on this. And yeah, I'm going to probably be doing a world tour pretty soon. Just in case. I've been live streaming, so if you really want to see the world tour right away, there is live streams all about. On 2 of my live streams, I messed up and had some audio left in there from a different thing. So 2 of them are quite annoying, so if you mute them, it's okay. I understand. But yeah. So if you need to see the world tour, the most recent live stream has the world tours. So yeah, that's how you do retaining walls. Like so. They look great. They're lighted, or they're lit, both figuratively and literally. You have pathways going through, winding through. You have a top section for doing whatever you want up here. You can place builds. You can do another farm section. You can do whatever you want up here. And then we have, obviously, our farm section. I taught you guys how to do it with the waterlogged slabs. So you have your waterlogged slabs all right here. And then they just fill out the whole area and do that. And then we have our bottom section. The bottom section I like to keep for builds strictly. If you really, really want a farm area, like I said, just have this staircase and then pull off this staircase and connect it like that, like how we did right here. And kind of brought it into our second area. This area, we're like, we kind of want to keep this square, so we have an area down here to work with, and it's not as close to the house. We're going to maybe put a waterfall here or something to break up this wall. Like I said, when you do a big wall like this, you're going to want to break it up as much as you possibly can with another build or a feature of some sort that is connecting with the wall. And yeah, that is how you build a retaining wall. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Let's Build episode. That is kind of the whole thing. I think next episode of the next Let's Build will be probably a tree. So I'll show you guys how I do trees and how I've learned how to do trees. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you want to see it, and put the bell notifications on so you get notified of how or when I upload, and you can see how I build a tree. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love y'all. Peace.